Hello everyone. Bugatti, one of the most renowned car brands, known for this luxury and power. Though this video isn't about the history or background behind Bugatti. No, everyone knows that. This video is going to be about wanting more Bugattis and BeamNG. I love both BeamNG and Bugatti, but the selection of Bugatti mods at the moment is very limited. As you just saw, there's only 5 models, and all are Chirons, being the Chiron, Chiron Sport, Chiron Super Sport, Chiron Pure Sport, and the Chiron Profile. But I would love to see more of these Bugatti models and track them around the Nürburgring. Now, before I get into what type of models or what I would like to see be added, I would like to say that I am no dev, nor a person who makes cars for BeamNG. I have zero experience or understanding of how these mods are made. I also don't understand the difficulty of making these cars and how long it really takes to make great mods, like the Chiron mod that I have, which I will leave in the description, of course. I would love to know how long it really takes, and some of my examples that I like to see be added as a mod. Consider this the first modern Bugatti that has come out in recent time, though making it to Beam would be the most difficult to do in my opinion, since it doesn't share the same drivetrain and engine like the Veron Chiron do. Besides the all-wheel drive setup, the engine and overall car blueprints are far different from the other two, but I wouldn't discourage it and still would love to see it as a mod in BeamNG. As I said, I would love to track it around the Nürburgring. The mod would include 2 variants, the GT and the SS, to make sure that we have all the variants that the model has to offer be covered. Moving on to the more simpler mod to make, the Veron. It would be the second easiest mod to make in Beam, in my opinion, because it shares the same engine, transmission, drivetrain, and really everything besides some smaller features that differ like the interior and exterior. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same. And just like the EB110, it would include all variants that the Veron had to offer. So, it would have the base model 16.4, the Grand Sport, the Super Sport, and the Grand Sport Vitesse. Though, just like real life counterpart, it would have less horsepower than the Chiron and have smaller turbos and other bells and whistles that made the Veron what it was. Now, onto the simplest, abundant, and easiest variants of Bugattis to add, because these use the Chiron platform, and the Chiron platform is the most newest and abundant made. The Specials. For example, the Divo would be a great car to add, since it's track focused and would be a great competitor against the Pure Sport, and generally would be nicer to have since it's another Bugatti. Another great track Bugatti that should be added is the Bolide, an absolute unit of a track only car. I would love to drive and test this car out on the Nürburgring. Having the most amount of horsepower out of all the Bugattis and being the lightest is the most insane thing I've ever heard of, knowing I'll never get to drive this thing in real life. I would like to experience at least a little bit, even if it's in game. Last track-focused Bugatti though that should be added is the Vision Gran Turismo. At first I thought this was a concept-only car made by Gran Turismo, but there is only 1 or 2 made, if I remember correctly, and still would love to see it as a mod and test it on the track and drive it generally, just like the rest of the models I've been talking about. Some more of the specials that I like to see is a Sentadoshi. It's supposed to be a quite rare, low production value car and a Grand Touring based Bugatti, but nevertheless, I would love to see this car added as a mod, because the more Bugattis, the merrier. Everyone knows this. The extremely rare La Voiture Noire, although it's a rare car, I think it should still be possibly added as a mod, and generally would bring more attention to it, even though it's such a rare one of one car, just like the Chiron Profile. I would still love to see it in game. I would imagine it would become a fan favorite, since only one person in the world can have it, but in game, anyone will be able to, because simply it's a mod. Now, onto the final 2 cars. The first being the Mistral, which is also the final Bugatti to have a W engine, or the W16. It's a nice send-off and a great way to end off a gray era with a majestic looking car. Although I don't like convertibles, I know that the Grand Sport Veron and the Grand Sport Vitesse are convertibles, but I would like to have them have a detachable roof as a feature. But anyways, the Mistral is a must need to be added alongside the rest of the models because it's going to be a special car. And finally, the Chiron Centauri, which isn't directly made by Bugatti, but a car made by Mansouri, the aftermarket brand for many different vehicles. I consider this car a different enough to be its own variant because it's been changed enough on the exterior and interior to be a different car. That's how I qualify it. And it still adds variety to the already limited Bugatti selection that we have. Now, like I said before, I'm in no command or demand or really be the person who decides on how these models should be made. Though, there's two things I would like to say is I would like to be an inspiration and I just want them to be good enough in all qualities just like the current existing Chiron mod, and it would generally be nicer to have more of them. I would like to use them in more than one way too, like tracking them as I said before and getting a somewhat realistic time on the Nürburgring, or maybe having them be a selection of cars on a Shikoku map on BeamNG or Beam and Multiplayer, and players be able to drive them with their friends, or to just contain my want for Bugattis and Beam because I love the cars and I love to have all my favorite cars in game. It is just a dream come true. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Thanks,